Hello, 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 hello. Just gonna grab myself some water. And then we'll be good to go. Also a preemptive hello and how are you? My toe! All right. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, Bobby. Oakley dokley. All right. Oh my, well, hello. Hello and hello. Hi, hi, and hello and hi, and hello and hi again. And hi, again, and hi. Hello. I'm Goose. What's up? I mean, really, there's not much more that you need to know about me right now. Other than that, I'm Goose. And we're here. We're talking. We're saying what's up. We're doing the darn thing. And we've got the stream is live. The stream is ready to go. I don't know what that says. I'm trying to click on it. There we go. Trying to see what it says. Oh, what's something you struggle with? How about this? Ask an atheist. All right. So, if you are feeling so inclined, feel free to ask me anything about atheism, ideally. Oop. Oop. Oh, there we go. A little more tolerance on the camera. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, so, oh my gosh. Get clicked on. Boom, shakalaka. There we go. All right. Now you see it. It's unseeable. So now you don't have to wonder. Now you don't have to wonder. I don't know where that goes the best, but you know what? That's pretty besides the point here. We're just really chilling. What's up, Amy? How's it going? And where I said I was in the beginning, or I was in the middle of starting to say something, which is getting ready to get ready, sort of thing. You know, It's a bit redundant, but people do it, including me. I do it. I get ready to get ready, and that's what I'm doing. So here we are. We are introducing a very new, very brand new concept. A new. It's almost like a show. It's almost like a TV show, but it's more like a boring podcast. And it's called. Forgive me, headphone users. Prepare yourselves. It's gonna be loud. But here's what it's. I'm gonna turn down my mic right now, just to prepare you. It's called or Ask an Atheist Anything, featuring me, an atheist. Hi, I don't believe in God. If you'd like to ask what that experience is like, it's pretty much why I'm here. Other than that, we're gonna go through some questions for atheists on the internet. Crazy concept, I know, but it's one of those sort of casual things where we go through and we go, yes, I either agree or I don't agree, and that's really the long and short of it. As far as the M in Monday goes, it could be Miracle Monday, it could be Motivation Monday, it could be Manifestation Monday, but really, I think what's the most apropos for right now is perhaps Mental Health Monday. I mean, we already kind of do that. You know what? It doesn't matter what we call it. The important thing is we're always maintaining mental health. And as that is the going thread for most of my live streams, the beginning always consists of a check-in. And if you don't know what a check-in is, it is a mental health thing. It really just helps you focus your thoughts into stuff that you can process with your mouth parts. And that's really it. It helps put things into perspective, helps put things into focus. And my check-in for this past, I guess, since Thursday is actually, I guess, a positive one. I went to Fan Expo and I'm dog tired. I think I got the convention sickness. It's the same kind of cold that you get when you're on a plane with a bunch of people. Compartment sickness. That's actually a thing. I don't think that's what I'm talking about. I think that's like when you're in a submarine and the pressure is irregular. I don't know. Point is, I went to Fan Expo. It was pretty cool. And I didn't get to speak to any celebrities, but I got to see them in the flesh, which is cool. And originally I thought that the Ninja Turtles that were going to be there, it was the original actors from the Ninja Turtles in the like the very first one that came out. And the live action one. And I guess I was mistakenly thinking that it was the voice actors for the role. And for each of the roles. And what it was actually the bodysuit actors for the role. Which is funny because a lot of them voiced characters. At some point, if not for that movie, they voiced characters at some point in the storied career of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which I find was really funny because you can hear the voices in the people who are the actors. And it's just so obvious. It's like, oh, that's Leonardo. And what I thought was really funny is that there's a guy there named Ernie Reyes Jr. And he's a bit of a martial arts legend, I guess you could say. I don't like giving people titles of acclaim when they do everything they can to try and sully those titles. Like, he's a bit of a douche. And I don't know if it's a deserved title because he just seemed too cool for school. He had sunglasses on the whole time. He was wearing the Marvel disguise. but nobody would recognize the dude. You know, like, he was Kino in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. And he was the body suit guy, wearer, for, I believe, Donatello. So, it's not like anybody knows the guy. And he was sitting next to the guy who played Shredder, who's Dominic Chow. He's Dr. something from Lost. He was in Lost. He was in all those videotapes from the Dharma Initiative. And He was like a leading scientist or something like that. But anyway, he was there. He played Shredder. I don't know if you didn't know that. Now you know. He plays Shredder in the original New Line Cinema live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he seemed like he was too cool for school. Like, they were both kind of like cracking jokes with each other. And it's like, I guess I understand, you know, that a lot of people have gone on. You know, Kristen Hogue is in Halloween Town. I think she was in that maybe before Teenage Mutant Ninja. I don't remember. When did that come out? Or was that in the 2000s? It's a series of movies. I don't remember exactly how many movies, because I was too old by the time Halloween Town was popular. Like, I remember it got popular in recent years again. But is that because of a sequel or a remake or something? I'm not sure. Anywho, point is, Kristen Hogue, or is it Catherine Kristen? I don't remember. April O'Neil. Anywho, they were all there, and they were all kind of like friendly with each other, like her and the Turtles, except for Ernie Reyes. They were all, you know, having fun and chilling and talking and stuff like that. They were even saying that, like, people who couldn't ask them questions, like, who weren't, hey, sitar boy, how's it going? Sitar. I love sitar music. Maybe not all sitar music, but like I like the sitar. It's a very good sounding instrument. But so it seemed like they were all kind of like, they liked each other, they had a good time, and they were hanging out. But like, just for some reason, Shredder and Donnie just weren't like into it. Like, they weren't part of the crew or whatever. I don't know. It was strange. And like, they wouldn't answer questions when people were asking questions. Like, they let the other turtles answer them. Like, I don't know. It felt like they were like cliquey, like they were like not super into it, or like they I feel like they had sort of gone beyond considering themselves characters in a comic book universe. I can't blame them, because that's like, you know, who wants to be called Shredder for like the millionth time when you've done maybe like Shakespeare or something, you know? Like, I don't know his history, I don't know his resume, but he's an actor, so I assume he's done some stuff, you know, I don't know. But he seemed to be very disinterested. Other than that, the experience was really good. I got to see, you know, all those people, like the nerd people. Like, I got to see all the Hobbit guys, you know, Donnie, Billy Boyd, who is a precious human being and needs to be protected at all costs. Dominic Monaghan was there. And then Elijah Wood was there, Sean Astin. They were all there. They were all hanging out. They were all having fun, talking about the Hobbit and stuff. And there's something that religious people... I don't know that I can get on board with any religious people solely based on the fact that they think Tolkien's like demonic. You know? I can't get on board with that. You gotta like the Hobbit and shit. You know, for us to be able to be friends. You gotta be able to be into it. You gotta be able to watch that director's cut. The one that has, I'm pointing too much. The one that is like 12 hours long, or has like 12 hours of extended footage or something like that. Like, you got to be able to sit it. You got to sit it. You got to be able to endure it if you want to be my friend. I mean, not that you're aching to be incorporated into this social circle, but you know what? Maybe you should be. Maybe you should be. Maybe that would be, you know, how we bring people together is just like, have some cool social aspect to offer people. Like, if you hang out with me, you're going to get to see the Hobbit. I don't know. I don't know if that's a deal worth taking. But you know what? We can refine that. We can refine our conditions, and we can talk more about the criteria. It might not be exclusively Lord of the Rings related, because it's not. That's not exactly the what on earth? Because that's not my favorite property. So there you go. All right. Chi-Chi, if you want food, I have it right here. Look. You can have food anytime you want it. It's right here. Take it if you'd like. She's been feeling sick, so I didn't want to like. No, don't you even come in here. Her sister's now coming in here and wants the food. It's a frickin' balancing act, you know? You got so many plates spinning, aka pups. Oh, goddamn. You okay? Sitar boy, did you just stop by to say hi and then dip, or what? What's going on? Are we chilling? Are we talking? What's happening, buddy? Chi-Chi. Where'd she go? She left. Okay. You can't please them. You know? Well, no matter what treats you get, they're going to be dissatisfied with those, especially if they help them somehow. If it's like for your joint health. All right? They ain't going to want that because it doesn't taste as good to them. Ugh. Too hard to please, you know? They give us unconditional love and that's about it. And complications. All right? You damn cutie patooties, but you know. Hey, Helmet. Oh yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying what's up. Chi-Chi. She didn't eat breakfast, and she's been dealing with stomach issues again. She has pancreatitis, and so every time that she goes out and like eats something she's not supposed to eat, even if it's just like a berry or like a piece of someone's leftover food, it can really screw up her stomach. So she's just, I wish I had some other way to help her feel better. She's just like wandering around and shaking, and her stomach's making some, like, I can hear it from here. Like it's making some ungodly noises. So speaking of ungodly, I'd like to take a look at questions for atheists. And I don't think, I want to get to some that are actual questions for atheists that are not just people reacting to questions for atheists. So I might skip through a couple, and we shall see. We shall see. So I am just a plain atheist. I didn't have any kind of religious epiphany. I wasn't traumatized by religion. I didn't do I had to do a ton of soul searching to find my way outside of religion or anything like that. Like I didn't do anything like that. We just kind of like, my mom was she worked for the Salvation Army, and I saw a lot of what I considered harmful and predatory tactics that Christians used in order to convert people, or I guess not convert, but really more to usher people into the faith, as it were. And it gave me a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And from that, I had like some friends who were, religious, mostly Catholic. But they, encouraged me to do some reading. And I was never really like religious. Akita. I was never really like religious before then. And so I just mostly tried to meet things with an open mind. I read books on the Bible. Chi-Chi. It's food, I promise. Just come eat it. Here, just come eat some. Yeah, just eat a little bit of it. Whatever. I'll leave it there. I hope that the other one doesn't sneak in and get it. But so I only really learned enough about like religion to kind of go to need to go deeper, I guess. And the one thing that was really fun for me to learn about was I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's eschatology. It's the study of like the revelation, like the end times stuff, which I thought was really fascinating. And so I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. Like if I can see a pathway to some higher power by, just learning more about these religions, then so be it. That's how I'll do it. And so I kept reading, and kept listening to people's stories. And I would go and I'd sit in on like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. So I worked at a Starbucks in a convention center, and we used to get free tickets to go into like all the events and stuff, and things that were public things, like when you walk into a Narcotics Anonymous or a Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. Those are all public things, and you can just kind of walk in willy-nilly anytime you want. So I went and sat in. I'd go on breaks and I'd sit in, see people like talking about stuff, and their experiences with drugs and alcohol. And it was just, there was so much God speak. There was so much like, and I get that people who are addicts can be religious, but I also, the 12 steps and a lot of the anti-alcohol and drug programs that we see in the US today that are like funded by government agencies and things like that, they typically like bring people into the religion based on the fact that they're hurt and vulnerable, and that always felt a little slimy to me. So I kept reading, and eventually someone, I think it might have been a young Earth creationist, but eventually someone told me, oh, do you know about Jesus and all that kind of stuff? And I was like, do you know that Jesus died on the cross and died for your sins and all? Yeah, whatever. The thing that people always say when they make you take some sort of Christian oath or whatever, the cult stuff. And I was like, wait, hold on a sec. But by any chance, do you actually consider any part of the Bible literal? Like, is this something that you think actually happened? And are these predictions things that you think are actually going to happen? Like, Jesus is going to ride down on a horse with a flaming sword? And they were like, yes, that actually is 100% what I believe. And I was like, oh. And a lot of the people that I had thought were pretty reasonable ended up being like biblical literalists. They just didn't share that with people very often because they didn't like how it made them look. Which to me says, A, weak faith, or B, weak religion. Take your pick. But, that was just kind of a wake-up call. I thought that everyone that was Christian took these passages in the Bible as metaphor. And I didn't realize that there were people who actually thought that the earth was 6,000 years old. Especially considering the fact that we have recorded history that's older than that. And I knew that at like 8 years old. So like it felt weird that so many people were willing to buy into something like that. And I don't know. I guess I just kept watching in the subsequent years. I kept observing and seeing like, just I saw people giving parts of themselves up, giving up part of their personality, part of their core values, part of their, morals or whatever, just to subscribe to something that they thought might be an easy ticket to a comfy afterlife. And even according to most Christians, that's not how it works. But there's a level of therapy where you either decide that what you're going through is something that you need to talk with someone individual, or you go to group therapy. And there were a lot of times when what I thought was going through was group therapy material. And so I would go to different groups and I would hear people talking about their journey with like drugs and alcohol and talking about how like, oh, that wasn't me back then, like that was the devil working through me. That was, Jesus calling me to him. And, like it really seemed to me, and this wasn't just one, this was almost every single person. I don't think I ever really heard one wholesome story where they were like, I just realized that I had been making I'd been making really bad decisions. And I needed to hold myself accountable, and I really needed to do some introspection and find out why I was doing these things and why I had to quit. It's never like that. It's always, the devil was working through me. The devil was controlling my bottle hand. The devil was controlling my crack pipe hand, So it's never this thing where a person does the right amount of mental physical therapy, and realizes, okay, this is what's been going on. I know how to address this. Maybe I don't, but I know that I need the tools to address this thing. And they didn't go and they didn't do that. And they didn't do any of that hard work. Instead, what they did was they asked an ethereal external force for help. They relied on an external force to then help, and then they give all the credit to this external force. So I just kept noticing that, and just over and over and over again, people were like praying to God for the hard work that they were doing. And it was just so ass backward to me that I was like, I think I've made a decision. I think I've made up my mind. And I was like, thank you, but no thank you, Christianity. Thank you. We will be in touch. Don't call me, we'll call you. And so that is just sort of, you know, why I am where I am in terms of religion. And so yeah, that is what my hope is that we can have an open and free-wheeling discussion about God, probably. Maybe to a lesser extent, Jesus. And maybe to an even lesser still extent, a bit about Moses. A bit about Moses. Do you know Moses? He's out there building that red seawall. He's trying to make that thing a permanent addition. Holy Moses is what they call him. They call him Holy Moses. All right, we'll sort by upload date. I think would be a good way to do that. All right, atheists grilling Muslims. So one thing that I really hate to react to is when it's one religion going against another, because there are no winners. Anyone who subscribes to religion is probably doing so out of a misguided sense of righteousness. So you're going to fight fervently because you're convinced that you're right. And that's going to be both sides, just how it is. Hey, atheist. So evangelical answers to your burning questions. I'm going to guess that people weren't... What? Answering 10 theist questions. Come on! See what I mean? See what I mean? I mean, maybe something like that.
Questions for atheists. We have 100 questions for atheists here to answer. We are taking them 10 at a time. We're doing 41 to 50 here.
They got 100 of them, but we're going to do 10. Why not just do 10? Why not just ride the viral wave and do 10 questions for atheists and then do 10 more, you know, and then do 10 more and then do 10 more and like really ride that. You know what? I'm not going to criticize somebody's upload style. I'd much rather criticize their ideas. If you're just tuning in, welcome to or Ask an Atheist Anything. It's a brand new show, I guess. Brand new stream where you get to ask an atheist anything. Please feel free to ask an atheist anything, and if you've got a link to a video that asks atheists anything, I'm happy to look at that as well. So stick around, do all that like and subscribe stuff, and you know, we'll keep going.
I'm due to answer question 41.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see where it takes us. Obviously, if you've missed question 1 to 40, those videos are in a playlist here. You can check them out. Did you observe the Big Bang?
Okay. Are you just going to go through? Are you just going to put them on the screen and not say them, or what? So question 40 for these guys is, where is your evidence for the Big Bang? Don't know, don't care. I do not claim to have an alternative to how the universe started. I just don't believe in God. That's a pretty easy one to answer. Atheists don't necessarily have an alternative to back that up with. They just don't believe in God. Real simple. Real simple. We just don't believe in God. Just don't believe in God. I don't say it's not God, it's this. I just say I don't believe in God. If they say, oh, okay, well, how do you think the universe started then? I don't care how the universe started. It doesn't matter to me. We're here. We got to make the best of it. We got to work together. Stop trying to convert me.
Okay.
Pretty easy answer for that one.
Obviously, if you've missed question 1 to 40, those videos are in a...
Question number 41. Well, okay, so then he might have answered or done question 40 like before. So let's see. Question number 41. Did you observe the Big Bang? No, and I don't have to be an atheist. Is this a gotcha question? Because it's not working. I do not have to have observed an alternative to why the universe started. I don't have to have observed any of that. I don't have to believe any of that. I can just not know. Humans don't have to know everything. We don't have to be multi-hyphenate geniuses who are all capable of doing all the same things. We can believe different things. I don't like the sound of an all-powerful deity who supports slavery being the guy who's right at the end of the road. I would much rather someone not in favor of slavery, do that. Someone who doesn't commit genocides just because people stop, praising him and making sacrifices in his name. I think that's something that weak people would do, continue to worship somebody like that. So, I don't know. I do not have to have seen the Big Bang. That is not a prerequisite to being an atheist. Being an atheist simply requires that you don't have a belief in God. That is all.
Playlist here.
It is the opposite of theism. Theism is belief in a God. Atheism is non-belief in a God. You're not making a claim. Therefore, you do not have to prove anything.
Did you observe the Big Bang?
I hope not. I had the curtain shut.
No,
Starboy of the Night, what's up?
We assume he's talking about the origin of the universe and not what's being filmed in the adult studio next door. Mm-hmm. Then, no, of course I didn't. But what you can observe are effects.
Yeah, I mean,
of the Big Bang.
if we could be united, I'd be happy. That'd be awesome. Although you don't want one world religion, that would be pretty coinciding with the Book of Revelations. I don't think people want that. That would be that would be dangerous. Although I guess maybe that means Jesus is coming back soon, so sure, instead. Absolutely fine. Typically you wouldn't want all religions to be one though.
Like we talked about, the expansion of the universe, cosmic microwave background radiation, you can observe those things, which is good evidence for it. Okay, Doom. Question.
So yeah, I think what they're doing is they're answering questions for atheists. They're not actually asking questions for atheists. That's what I think. I could be wrong.
42.
Right, okay. 42. Life, the universe, and everything. Why do I believe the Earth is millions of years old? Again, because it's just how I was taught. It was presented to me with enough evidence for me to adequately believe that what I was being told was true. I have not seen any counter evidence to prove otherwise.
Yeah, they're answering questions for atheists. Darn it! Abdullah Hashim is messenger to the Antichrist Muhammad Al-Mahdi, who first appears after World Cup 2026. I mean, there's no way you can prove that. So, I mean, I could predict anything. The world will end in 2028. If I attach important names to it, some people will believe it. Doesn't make it true. So I would hold off on the predictions. You can't substantiate any of that. Requires faith. Marcus Joseph Odermatt is the Pope Peter the Roman at Palmarian Church, Spain. He's the last pope in prophecy of popes by Malachi, not the Vatican, Palmarians. So you're taking a prophecy that somebody else made and you're twisting it to mean what you want it to mean. Starboy, I don't think you're going to find much support here. Prove you wrong. You're making a claim. You're the one that has to prove it correct, you dummy. That's how that works. Burden of proof is on the person making a claim. You just made two prophecies. You have to prove them correctly. Sorry. Bet you can't do that. Beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it. All right, let's hope these are actually answers for atheists, or questions for atheists.
This video will be a bit different from my other videos on this channel.
2 questions, and it's 6 minutes and 44 seconds long. Really padding out that runtime. Okay, prove it. Starboy, you've made 3 claims now. Prove them.
And I just have
You're the one making the claims. You must substantiate them. Prove them.
2 logics to present.
You must
to
provide
atheists
sources. You
or
must
people
prove
who simply
the
think
claims that you are
universe is
making.
running without
That's how it
any
works
external
for you.
influence, all on its own.
Don't misunderstand
First question is perhaps a
what
more
making
common
points
one.
is.
The more common argument
'Cause you're
of
not doing it right now.
regress, right? And perhaps it has become more popular after this the debate between Javed Akhtar and Mufti Ismail. The infinite regress question, but I'll pose it here once again if you haven't heard it before, right? The fact that if I have to do something, say I have to pick up something, and I need permission from somebody else, and he needs permission from somebody else, and he needs from somebody else, and this goes on for infinity, will I ever get the permission to pick up this thing? Of course, the logical answer is no, because it's going on for infinity, right? Likewise, the fact that we human beings are here, the universe exists.
Which is a thing called infinite regression, but he's making it really, really simplified. I don't know if that's what he's intending to do, but that's what it sounds like.
We needed a creator for it, but that creator needed a creator, and that creator needed a creator. It went on for infinity. Would we ever exist? And the logical answer is no, because this cycle is going.
Not if you set it up like that, no. But that's not how reality works. There is no infinite. There is no, like, we cannot see the end of infinity, so we don't know if infinity has an end. There is a mathematical theory that describes an end to infinity, but even that's, like, untested and unproved. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff in the world that we just don't know. And that scares people. And that's why people gravitate towards religion, because they can create and form whatever bond they want. I'm turning off the face cam just so that I can smash this bowl. All right. If you've never been here before, you know, we are a cannabis loving family here, and we do not support or endorse the use of Schedule 1 substances. However, it's a pretty good idea for those who use it therapeutically, and that is the reason why I do it. So if you got them, feel free to smoke them up. Cheers, and give me one moment. I'll be right back with us. I'll let this play while I'm doing that. First of all, the first impression that I have is that you're setting up a scenario in which you think an atheist can't win, but really all the atheist has to do is I don't know and I don't care.
On for infinity. Logically, we couldn't exist. The fact that we are existing means there was some end to this infinite chain. Right?
Nope.
There had to be somebody who was not dependent on this cycle, who was independent, right?
We don't know that.
The second question that I have is, this is a bit of a deep question, and that is the question of parameters, design parameters. What do I mean by design parameters? When you go into a factory, and for example, a factory is making a box. A box has certain dimensions. It has a length, it has a width, it has a height. Maybe it has a specific color, a blue colored box.
Right. No, it's just someone had to design you. I know. I get it.
Wood, whatever.
Saying the same shit everyone else
This
does.
box comes out of the factory. You know that these parameters were set by a designer, because
Right.
some boxes are small, some are big, some are blue, some are red.
We just don't know. We don't have to know. That's the thing. Nobody that lacks a belief in something believes in the alternative. You lack the belief in it. You lack the belief. You don't have the belief in the first place. You don't have belief in an alternative. It's just not there. The belief just is gone. It's not there. It's off. It's off in the universe somewhere. The universe that you failed to agree has a history. So, Starboy, do you have any more predictions that you'd like to give us? Without proof? So yeah, he's using infinite regression, which is just something that we hear all the damn time in YouTube videos geared towards atheists is, well, who incited the Big Bang, who caused the Big Bang? And I could say, space farts. And you could say, okay, well, who's the one that farted the space farts? And I'd be like, space Bob from Bob's Burgers, I guess. And then they could say, well, who created Bob from Bob's Burgers? And I would say, an artist? And they'd say, who created the artist? See what I mean? It's just a thing that just keeps going and can never, ever, ever end. So it's just kind of, it's a place that a lot of religious people like to go to because it makes atheists look like they can't get out of it. When you don't have to start from there to begin with. You're starting with a premise that doesn't matter.
It's all on its own. The first question is perhaps a very more common one.
Listen to his premise here.
More common argument of the infinite regress, right? And
He even
perhaps
calls it infinite regression. You're not supposed to let the fucking secret out.
The infinite regress question, but I'll pose it here once again if you haven't heard it before, right? The fact that if I have to do something, say I have to pick up something, and I need permission from somebody else. And
Already, see, right there, you're done. Right there. Atheist would just stop you right there and say, who needs to give you permission for anything? Why do you need permission from someone? What do you need? You just reach down and pick up a box. You reach down and pick up a box. You just right here. Here's the box. I picked it up. I reached down. I pick it up. I put it. Oh, I dropped it here, and I'm reaching up to pick it up again. I didn't need permission. What are you talking about? Whose permission do you? What? There's nobody else here. What permission do you need? So already you're starting on shaky ground, and it would make me not want to interact with or engage with the question because that's a stupid question. If you came up with a better question, I mean, just so you guys know, if you're just joining, welcome to which is short for Ask An Atheist Anything. It's like a show, like a live stream, like a podcast. It's like a whatever. It's like a whatever you want to call it, where you get to ask an atheist anything. You can either type it into the chat, or you can join the Discord. Whatever's clever. And we chill and we watch videos that ask questions of atheists. It's very straightforward. I don't think I can describe it any more succinctly. It's very straightforward. So with that in mind, we're going to keep watching. I mean, he called himself out. I think that he didn't realize that infinite regression was a fallacy, and he just kind of says, this is the argument of infinite regression. So are there Christians that believe that infinite regression is not claiming a loss? Because that's what you're doing. People have tried to present it in different ways, but that it's in the structure itself that the failure lies. And then he does the whole the watchmaker argument, where he says something that is complex requires a designer, which just is not true.
The sky is blue and not as, for example, red or purple. These are very specific parameters, right? The same question applies to factory. Like when you see a product coming out with different parameters, you say, okay, that's it. It was designed by a designer. But why not the universe? The universe happened on its own. Now I want to give you a specific example.
We don't need to, but that's the thing. Scientists aren't going to tell you definitively that the Earth formed itself on its own. Because we don't, I'm not a scientist. I'm saying we as a civilization, we don't fucking know. We don't know. And that's the whole point. You don't have to know. You don't have to have a definitive answer for something just to lead a good life. Morals exist in nature. We've seen that. Look at anything that Jane Goodall has made. For Christ's sake. Like, it is so obvious that animals in nature exhibit quite a bit of what we would consider human social dynamics. They shun, they support each other, they use group, I guess they do group discussions or whatever. They decide things as a group. They have little societies. It's so weird that people ignore that. Just to believe in a security guard for your afterlife.
Another plant, we have its seed, right? Any vegetable.
Gigi, I have food for you right here. You're probably feeling sick because you're hungry.
A watermelon seed will give you a watermelon. A mango seed will produce a mango fruit. Likewise, in the factory, we have buttons. One button will start the machine, another button will stop the machine, another.
It doesn't matter. And I think that the going answer for this is that you know, like the things that are part of nature can be insanely complex. And just because we might start as like single cell organism doesn't mean that we don't become something infinitely complex along the way or by the time we're done. We can watch cell division happening in microscopes. We can watch it. You know, we can see the process. And we don't have to crack open the atom to know that these are natural processes. And whether you take it back infinitely, like this guy wants to do, and you attribute it to, you know, who is the divine force that put that sperm in your daddy's ball sack. Okay. I guess if you want to go back, like, that minute, and you want to get that acute and that fucking laser focused, then you feel free and have fun all day darn long. But that's not why I'm here. And that's not what anybody cares about. That force that put that sperm in the dad's ballsack does not govern anything. If it can't stop floods, and if it can't like stop, you know, innocent mothers from dying in the age the book was written, or prevent people from becoming property, or prevent, you know, grape or PDF files, or, you know, any of that stuff. Instead chose to what? Do genocides and be used as an excuse for ethnic cleansings and slaveries. Huh. Interesting guy, that God. More questions. 10 of it. Questions. 3 questions atheists can't answer. I don't believe that's going to be a thing. Let's see if TikTok has a better
Here are 5 questions.
silly atheist.
Here are 5 questions.
Christian here asking a question to all my atheists.
You have to go to funeral.
So I've got 3 questions that I want to ask.
Is there a stitch incoming? Damn it!
I've got 5 questions for atheists.
All right, let's hear
Damn it!
There is no God. Prove it.
I see
What?
what you did there. Yeah, because that's what you guys do. Yeah, we do that. But really, prove it.
Prove what?
You made the claim that there is no God. Prove it.
Well, science has already proven that God doesn't exist.
No, that's exactly the wrong way to do that. That's not how you do that. You can say I don't personally believe in God, but also making the claim there is no God. I don't know that necessarily necessitates proof if you're making a negative claim. I don't see a God, therefore, to mine eye, there is no God. I cannot experience God exerting a force over anything that I can observe. There is no way that you can pray and have me and like have God demonstrate that prayer works. You cannot demonstrate God, therefore, I personally believe that God doesn't exist, but I could also make the claim that God doesn't exist. There's every reason for me to believe that God doesn't exist. And if you can prove otherwise, then I'm happy to change my mind. I think that's where most people come from in the debatosphere when it comes to this kind of stuff. I think that Christians like to frame it this way. Like this guy right here. Like this character. In a way that paints atheists as intolerant and, forceful with their lack of belief. But really, it's the gospel that tells people to go out and spread the word. It's not atheism. We don't have a gospel. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Christians. Bam! L. -1 Christians. -1. And I think if you were to see a debate, whether a master debater or a cunning linguist, and they were to present their argument this way, probably don't watch that one. They're probably not worth it. I think a smarter person would word that more carefully. so as not to be gotcha'd too easily. Checkmate, Christians. Is it Christianity? Is it would have been Muslim? Who are we talking about? Christian? Yeah, because God. Yeah, I get it. Just making sure. I wasn't assuming. You never want to assume, because then you make an ass out of you and me.
All right, I've got 3 questions for atheists. Number 1 is, what is your best guess or explanation for the beginning of the universe? Number 2.
Best guess? See, okay. I mean, I don't care personally. I don't know, and I don't care. I'll leave it to the people who do the science, and then when they discover it, I'll be like, oh, whoa, cool. You know? I'll be like giving them fist bumps and stuff for discovering it, but I don't care up until then. But if the question is what's my best guess, I think I may have reacted to this video already. If the question is what's my best guess, I would say that we're probably one of those, like, and this may be an out there belief, and I don't care about sharing it. It has no effect on me, but I think that we're like, there is a possibility that we can, perceive a universe greater than our own in time. But that's like that's just like if I was gonna have my own universe, and like if I wanted it to be a certain way, I don't actually think that's how it is. I'm guessing that we were just a really coincidental collection of different types of materials that formed particles, that formed chemicals, all that shit in between, and then that formed all the basic building blocks for planets and mass and energy and all this kind of shit, and all came together in the right ways, and blah blah blah, all kinds of like nature pooping out different things. Here we are. And if I really wanted to get sci-fi with it, maybe I'd propose that we're like a cyclical thing. The universe is cyclical. It's like the last one dies, it's like in Marvel or like DC or whatever. Like, the last one dies, the next one comes up somehow, and it's like a, great expansion contraction thing. Who knows? But the thing is, like, normal people don't just sit around contemplating how how the universe was created. I think it's a decent question to ask in this debate space where people are just making videos debating each other. But I don't think that it's a good question for everyday life, because these people go to church. They sit for hours and hours and talk about conceptual bullshit, different ways to reinterpret the same fucking book over and over again, just to see how to convert new people, even though they have like 2/3 of the world at this point, right? Chi-Chi, I'm so sorry. She's her stomach is like definitely bugging her. I think maybe she just needs to throw up and she'll probably feel better. I don't know. She's feeling sickly. I think she'll be fine once she gets some food in her. Anywho, yeah, I think that people like to think that being religious makes them free, or it gives them, some sense of liberation. And that is a common line. God specifically gave people free will, but he made all these rules you have to live by. Why create a hindrance for people when you can instantly make them learn the lesson that you're trying to teach through whatever hindrance you're creating through them? And you can even see through all of time and space at all times, so you can see on into the future. I'm gonna let my dog out real quick. Chi-Chi. All right, she went outside. Maybe she'll at least be at rest, you know? At least a little bit more than she was before. Ooh, okay, if you're just joining, welcome to... Ah! Or Ask an Atheist Anything. I'm the atheist. That's me. That's me. It's me. I stand for not a whole lot. But what I do like is, you know, people having freedom and being able to be who they want to be and all that kind of stuff. And religion kind of restricts a little bit of that, and you know, maybe it's a bad thing for people to be so repressed all the time, you know? Let your hair down. Come on, Christians. Let that hair down. Do that thing that the Mormons do. What is it? Soaking? Do that. Do the get it but do the soak thing. If you haven't heard about it, don't look it up. It's pretty gross. Not gross in the sense of what it is, because, you know, people are beautiful and whatever. But gross in the sense of that they gotta do that. Or they feel like they gotta do that. Go to those measures just to get their jollies. Right? So go do some of that stuff. And then, I don't know, have fun. Let your hair down, have a non-alcoholic beer. I don't know why it would have to be non-alcoholic. I don't know. It just, that was what came out of my mouth. You know? What can you do? What can you do? You know? I can only keep shrugging like this. You know?
Is what is your foundation for saying something is morally wrong?
Why do you guys think that people are like just walking around like brainless zombies? Like they just don't have thoughts in their brains? Like, what is that? What is the impetus for that? Before somebody decides on religion, they're walking around with no moral backbone, no moral foundation for anything. It's all just chaos up here. Who decided that? Who used that really, really bad argument first? I really want to like slap him in the mouth and say that's not a good argument. If you don't know, morals and ethics and things like that, it all falls under the same umbrella. It's all shit that we needed to do and accept and have as a foundational thing to work together as a society. And that's literally just how people, like, I mean, it may have started a very long time ago with like a single origin like religious or secular beliefs, but society's been going since then. I know, it's wild to think about. But we've been the human race since the nomad days. Our oldest recorded transcripts are like 9,500 years old. Suck it, Christians, New Earth creationists. But like, what makes anybody think, what makes any Christian think that this is a smart question to ask? Because all it does is say, well, you guys have no moral framework. Because there's no laws. Our parents wouldn't ever teach us anything at all whatsoever. And no one ever reacts when people do wrong things. So yeah, you've got no moral center. You've got no fucking framework for morality. I'm holding my foot out here so that my dog doesn't like fall off of the bed. She's done that many times. She's old and frail at this point, and I want to try and keep her intact. She's making herself a bed, so I have to like make sure that she doesn't fall out of the. It's like a blanket. She's like making it's like a little blanket nest thing. And now she thinks I'm weird because I'm like holding my foot out at her. She thinks I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Sniff that? And I'm thinking to myself, no, that would be a whole different kind of live stream. Oh dear. Oh dear. You good? I don't hear that stomach making crazy noises anymore. I don't think I've got headphones on, so it's hard, but I don't think I do. You feeling okay? Feeling better? Yeah, she's got such a crazy like dietary issue thing, or I don't know, like I don't know. It's if she has anything that's like too fatty. Well, obviously, you know, like I mean, you know, we shouldn't be eating a lot of fatty stuff either. But if she has something that's like just one little tiny little morsel of meat that's too fatty, and her entire digestive system is like gone for like 2 days. It sucks so bad. It's, you know, that's one of the getting old pup things. You know, you end up with more health problems. And she's almost fully deaf now. And she has cataracts in both eyes, but she still sees like, I think she can tell, like just paired with our smell, like she can tell, like me and my wife when we're walking through the dog park or whatever, she can tell it's us, but she does sometimes get mistaken, and she does like run over to people that are not us, thinking that it's us, and she's like, ah, who the fuck are you? So yeah, she's getting old. I'm still bummed about my other pup that passed. Like I'm trying to, you know, get over him, and I've got her knocking on death's door too. It's like, fuck, man. Anywho, let's get on to a better topic, like debunking Christianity. What's less heavy, mortality or the forbidden party topics?
Number 3 is, what is your solution for the desire of human flourishing for the world?
I think I did react to this before because I don't understand what that means. Could have worded that better. I think the gist that I kind of immediately picked up from that was, how do we ensure that people flourish? Why the fuck is that something that you're asking me? I don't care about, you know, the societal impact of my belief in... Does it have anything to do with me being an atheist? Why is this a question for an atheist? I guess if you're just asking me just as a person to person, see if I can like refresh my brain on this. What is your solution? Well, okay, for a solution to be there's probably going to be some sort of a problem. So the desire, the thing that follows, is probably the issue. So the desire of human flourishing. So I guess I'd have to ask elaboration questions. I'd have to be like, where do you see the problem of a lack of desire for human flourishing? Now, I know that it's a common argument from Christians to say that wokeism is bad. Period. But also, because the gays and the transes all get to exist, and that's going to lower the population. People aren't going to want to reproduce anymore. First, fuck you. But also, what the heck is the that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm addressing right now. But also, like, there's no problem with the population. If anything, we're overpopulated. But also, people are having babies constantly. Gay people have babies. Trans people have babies. Like, people have babies. And there's plenty of people who don't have families and homes and stuff like that, you know, I mean, maybe you could be adopting some of them, and then people would flourish. But, like, is he asking about charitable work? Like, that just came to my mind. Is he saying, like, how do you do charitable work as an atheist? And I mean, I'm going out on a limb assuming that that's what that means. But let me just answer that. Okay? How do I square the fact that churches require their parishioners to go and do charitable things? Well, first of all, most religious people don't practice what they preach. So let's just get that out of the way. Secondly, I don't feel mandated to do kind things. And I think that a lot of Christians, especially the more hateful ones, do things because they feel like they're going to go to hell if they don't. And I think that's kind of like what keeps them tied to the Bible, right? It's like, you know, it's the carrot and the stick. I don't feel mandated to do kind things. If I see someone struggling to cross the street, there's like a old lady and then they have like a walker or whatever, I will help them across the street because it's just the right thing to do. It's just a nice thing to do. I don't have to. I could walk by, and sure, she may get by just fine. Probably didn't need my intervention. But if I can just be a little more kind to people that I generally dislike, then it'll help me feel a little bit better about my position in the world, but it'll help the lady feel better, and she might pay it forward. And it may yada yada yada, you know, branch out and shit like that. So I don't feel obligated to go and donate money to charity. I just want to be a good member of my community. That's it. I see people that are in need. Yesterday I saw a dog, like my wife and I were driving to last day, or the day before yesterday. We were driving to Fan Expo, and there's a dog that's like running across the street, trailing a leash behind him. And you know, I tell her to stop the car. I say, pull over. I got my seatbelt off. I'm like running out there to try and get it. And my wife, she's a bit of a more curmudgeonly person than me. Like, she would not have stopped. She would not have chased the dog. She would not, and I don't fault her for that. But she doesn't necessarily go out of her way to do kind things for others. But I just want to, and I just decided that for myself because I want to have a good world to live in. Yeah, like you're saying, Helmet. And it's not like, I don't know, it's not like a standard of life thing. Like, I don't care if people are dismissive or rude, but society is just going to be a better place if we just be kind. And religion puts kind of a wedge in between us, in between me and religious people, because if I support LGBTQIA issues and they do not, then there is a foundational disconnect. I cannot get along with them. I will not share their heaven because I am helping their demonic enemies. And that to them makes me persona non grata. And that is a specific design of cults to be insular. Christianity just happens to be the most famous cult. Only, I would say, even in competition to by Scientology. Although Shinryaku was a pretty big one too. And there's, I think, probably an Indian cult that's pretty popular as well.
Okay, so I just want to go on a little bit of a rant.
Lord Alcatraz, those are indeed VHS. It's mostly horror. Though there is, I say there's maybe a sprinkling of modern stuff, and then a good mixture of 80s schlock. You know, like the stuff that you'd make to fuel cocaine benders and launder money back then. Hot Ticket to Miami comes to mind. So yeah. It's actually mostly my wife's collection. I wish I could take credit for it, but I am not a collector of things. When I left my home at the tender age of 17, I lived in my car, so I had to kind of keep only the essentials. We do, eventually, you know, we got the Tremors, just the 4-5 movie collection, whatever. I mean, the first and second ones are really the only ones that I would say are worth your time. But if you're like super stoned and you've got sci-fi on, like the Sci-Fi Channel, and they just happen to be playing, then yeah, let them play. One of the bad guys in one of them is called Ass Blasters. So that gives you an indication of the level of ridiculity. Ridiculity. A banger was the Iron Giant. It came with a little Iron Giant figure. Ooh, yeah, I don't think... I remember those being, like, McDonald's toys back in the day. But I do not remember that being... That would have been a cool set to get. Gosh darn it.
do my hair. I guess not really a rant, more like a question for a.
So yeah, I definitely I saw all these. Maybe I'm trying to see how search in the yeah, was it I'm trying to think about the thing that you're talking about, and I might have seen it like a toy show or something recently. We go to toy shows up here in Portland, and there's like quite a few of them, and I think it was one of the puffy cases, or was it like a whole? It was like a horizontal thing, and it had like maybe like a book or an art book or something, but it had like the VHS, or maybe it was just a really puffy thing. But then the side of it was the Iron Giant. Is that correct? Am I remembering that correctly? I could be completely wrong, but that's what comes to my mind when I try and think about it. Yeah. White plastic. The bubble. The it's like a squeezy. It's like I don't think we have any in there. My wife hates those covers. But I thought we might. Like Disney movies used to do those puffy VHS covers back in the day. Yeah, no, we've got like a whole, I don't know if you can see, we've got like a whole room like dedicated to this stuff. It's like all horror movie memorabilia and stuff, and yeah. All over the place. And in your face. Not in your face. That's rude. You don't want to be in your face. Or you don't want to be all over somebody's face either. Maybe that shouldn't have been. I think I blacked out there for a second. Take a sip of water here. All right, atheists. Me, I guess. What's up? If you're an atheist,
then I have a question for you. If Christianity were proven to be true...
No, why am I getting the same ones? Did nobody upload any goddamn questions for atheist videos since I last reacted to these? Back to YouTube.
One of the most classic questions of
here we go.
Is if God
is
so loving
and
he cares about us, why wouldn't he stop all of this evil?
Wait, no. Where do you fall on Renee Goodfront? I don't think she deserved to die. And I think that she, on all fronts, appears to be a loving mother and was a loving partner to the people that she was a partner to, and a decent member of her community. And I also don't believe that an officer who claims to have been traumatized after being dragged 40 feet the week before should be on the field, let alone doing that particular assignment. I also believe that law enforcement are trained to de-escalate and not escalate. And I also don't believe that calling her a fucking bitch afterwards was warranted, nor does it help with his self-defense case legally. So I don't know, it's pretty shitty. It's pretty fucked up. And I don't think that really anyone deserves to die. But I believe that if you do deserve to die, you need to be presenting a thoroughly inescapable situation. You know? Like, you have to, like, someone has to be bearing down on you with, like, one hit and you're, like, a one tap and you're gone, you know? And then you lash out, and then you may have to take a life, but villains are the ones who cross the line into willingly taking life. Have you ever seen The Amazing Atheist? I don't. That doesn't ring a bell. But I do have a very bad memory. Especially when it comes to like proper names for things, channels. Like, I know I have like a bunch of YouTubers that I love watching, and I cannot for the life of me remember any of them. I have my subscriptions here. Hutch, that's a guy that I've watched. Comics Explained. There you go. See, I'm remembering names as I see them. But yeah, no, I don't. If I saw it, maybe I'd probably remember. But
there is no one like you.
Oh, see, it goes back into my.
There has never been.
I've been getting a lot of motivational stuff. Stop playing. I've been getting a lot of motivational stuff in my feed for some reason. People be trying to motivate, you know. You gotta motivate, or else you. The only word I can think of is bad. You gotta motivate, or else you'll. Grover date. Or else you'll Grover date. Oh yeah, I'll check it out then. Yeah. If it's a rabbit hole, I'm into it. Wait. Damn it. It's a minefield out there, you know? Beam me up, Bob. Q for Atheist. How hard is it to figure out religion is ridiculous? A, you don't need to be a rocket scientist. True, you don't need to. It helps. Because rockets are fun to think about, and rocket science would be a pretty fun field to talk about. So it'd be cool to have someone like that explain about rocket science while they're explaining how religion is ridiculous. That'd be cool. I'd be into it. Sounds like a good combo. I think that sounds kind of boring to most people, but you know what? That's okay. That's all right. Oh, Atheist Judgment Day. Something AI.
We come to share the good news.
Okay. Interesting. I'm willing. It's 15 minutes! What is this? No, you're going to get me copyright struck, song. Jesus. Jesus and his apostles.
Of salvation and redemption, hoping you'll find peace in these words of gospel. You preach about a God, but I've seen.
Why are you looking over here? Your guests are here. They're behind you, sir. Are we in a theater? Are you cheating out to the audience?
No proof. I don't believe, and I'll make you see God doesn't exist.
Well, usually atheists don't give a shit about making other people see that God doesn't exist. There are, of course, people who will go out and they'll be like, "Stop believing in God." Well, of course it's an AI video. Come on. But that's few and far between. That's not the majority of atheists. Most people don't give a shit. If you lack belief, it means you don't have a core of beliefs surrounding that opinion. It's just a lack of belief. It's just not there. It's something that is not ever there. It's if you imagine that the sky has a balloon in it, and then you imagine that the balloon was never there. There is no sky with a balloon in it. It's just not there. It was never there. There was never a balloon. That piece of rubber didn't get expanded at no factory. It just was never made. It never exists. No balloon. There you go. Sky never had a balloon there. Never had a religion. No precepts of a religion. It's very, very simple. Like, I know it's AI. I'm just trying to take it seriously as it's intended. You know what I mean?
For decades, he lived without God dismissing faith as superstition.
The old man who was in the country being harassed by what appeared to be Jehovah's Witnesses lived without God for decades, rejecting religion as a myth. Go on.
Rejecting religion as myth, building his life on reason alone. But what happens when someone who denied God's existence suddenly stands before him today?
Jesus Christ. All right, we're definitely not going to watch through that, but just know I was willing to. It's 15 minutes long. I don't think I was willing to. I called it pretty quick. I think this is asking somebody... I'm trying to find goddamn actual questions for atheists, not people answering questions for atheists. I bet you, people probably have like these hours-long research sessions where they're looking for videos to react to. I just don't have that time, Yeesh. I try to carve out as much time as possible. It's difficult. For atheists and Muslims, are they part of the same group? Not Christians?
Atheism often says, only believe what you can test.
Atheism does not have a doctrine. Atheism is the opposite of theism. That's it. That's all it is. Well, yeah, it's usually, I mean, it would be fine if it was just regular clickbait, because that's the thing, it's like my mission, another Jehovah's Witness reference, my mission is to just kind of like throw a light on the ridiculosity of the videos that are meant to be taken seriously. And what I find, I think, the most interesting are the ones that are presented in a way that it's like clearly people just trying to make a quick buck, because it really does just reveal the face of true Christianity. And that's just like a cherry on top. And so I want to present these with a decent amount of taking them seriously, at least before I argue against them. You know what I mean? So yes, a lot of these. But the thing that the type of clickbait that I do not like, however, is when it's the people who are reacting to these and they present it like questions for atheists. And so I click on it, but it's like someone reacting to it. It's like, damn it. I wanted to answer the question. So no, atheists do not have a belief system. I'm sure that there have been some at one point in time who have said, believe what you test, but there aren't many people who just live by some precept like that. Like, I believe what I think is within the general consensus, within a reasonable margin of error, and if I find out more information on that thing, then I will check it against what I know, and if I find inconsistencies, I'll do further research, but typically, if it meshes well, I'll incorporate that into the belief. It's really not difficult. You just have to be emotionally intelligent, and a lot of religious people want to settle for believing that there's somebody up there in the sky making your decisions for you because they can't rationalize as easily as a smart person. See, I didn't call anyone dumb. Very specifically, avoiding calling religious people dumb. Misguided, I think, is a better term. But you feel free to call them dumb all you want. I'm going to get more water while this plays.
Use reason, but don't limit it. We trust our minds.
It's going to start over again. We'll just stop it at the end.
We trust logic, even though logic itself can't explain why it exists.
What do Muslims say again? I didn't see that part.
But don't limit it. Islam says, use reason, but don't limit it.
What does that mean?
We trust our minds, even though we didn't create them. We trust logic, even though logic itself can't explain why it exists.
Like logic is just a thing. Like logic is a globe that you can put onto a bookshelf or something. Fuck off with that.
Islam doesn't reject reason. It asks a deeper question.
Yeah, Bob, pretty much anything I think on YouTube would be clickbait because it wants you to click on it, The users, man. The people that make this stuff, you really gotta click on it or else they don't get the metrics. And they live and die by the metrics, man. It's all about the metrics. The goddamn algorithm god. Now that's a belief system, let me tell you.
If reason exists, doesn't it point to a source beyond itself?
No. What does that even mean? Reason could exist for a bajillion different reasons. Tiene razón. What it means is, consciousness is unexplainable. Consciousness is one of those things that we just can't really get a hold of in terms of quantifying it or figuring out what causes it or what the building blocks are of it. And if the guys who are in the science lab who were able to map out the genome, they couldn't figure out how the brain works in a thought way, then you can't just attribute it to God. Because then you're just making something up and you're saying, that's what it is. That's what it is. Straight up. I know because I have faith. All right? Says tens of thousands of different denominations all claiming to know different things.
Atheism often says...
All right, so since that's done, I'm going to go get more water. I swear to God, every time I go over there, it's empty. But it will be full this time. It will be full. I filled it myself. Don't go away. Hiya! All right, if you're just joining, welcome to which is Ask An Atheist Anything. We're gonna do this on Mondays. Mondays were anything from MAGA Monday to Miracle Monday, and Tuesdays were anything from Talk Tuesday to Tarot Tuesday. So it really just things need to find a home on my channel, and I think the religious day is going to be the Monday because it's right after Sunday. The MAGA day is going to be on Tuesdays, and then Wednesday, Thursdays are just going to be straight video games. Enshrouded is in the cards for Wednesday, Thursday. And yeah, so we're going to be doing on Mondays, and then we're going to be doing What's Wrong With You on Tuesdays. So if you like political discussions, all the things that you're not allowed to talk about at parties. If you like politics, it's going to be on Tuesdays. If you like religion, that's going to be on Monday, starting around 9-ish. Today was a bit late, but typically we start around 9-ish. Ideally, we would go to 1 or 2, but it just depends on how I'm feeling. I tend to line a lot of stuff up for myself that I end up having a lot of spinning plates, so I sometimes end the stream sooner than I'd like. But as my energy goes up, so will the stream time. But also, speaking of energy, if you're hanging out in the chat, and if you're engaging, if you're chatting in the chat, then my energy will go up accordingly. My hype is in equal proportion to my chat's hype. And so, you know, if you see me being low energy and stuff, then say hi, say what's up, and I'll probably perk right up. Like I'm inhaling a cup of coffee and then coughing and sputtering with coffee now in my lungs. It's gone down the wrong tube. And I think I'm going to throw up at this point because I'm coughing and sputtering so much. I smell coffee and I feel like it's coming out of my tear ducts. And then I cough so much I pass out, and you're looking at an empty chair for at least 45 minutes. At that point, there's brain damage, and I don't remember what I was doing. This is going on for way too long, isn't it? Let's move on. Shall we? Most asked questions by atheists. Oh, okay. In general, again, most people don't give a shit what other people care about or what other people believe in. I mean, I'm sure that there are probably people who, again, just like that there are people who would go and be like, no, fuck you, don't be religious, God doesn't exist. You know, just like there are people who would go and say that, there are people who would go and say, you know, oh my God. They're so loud up there. Come on. Made me lose my train of thought. They scare her. Ooh. But yeah, most atheists will not give a shit what religious people believe. So they aren't going to be going to Christians asking them questions. That's just not really a thing that happens. You don't really just like hang out in front of churches and go like, hey, a religious person, can I ask you a question real quick? Real quick? May I ask you a question real quick? Jabibi talk, Islam is cancer. Most religions are cancer, I'd say. Very, very bad for the people that they victimize and exploit. But if you're a person who can live in peace with a religion and adopt the good practices, then cool. That's just typically not the case, you know? Usually don't happen. Why are atheists panicking after this viral debate? I don't care about a debate. Atheists ask these questions? No, I want to be asked. You're okay. You're all right. She's very unhappy right now. Emotional atheist tries to dodge a question. Atheists don't go around asking questions. I just don't believe that. Where do I think you mean where do your base morals come from? Is it relative to you? Are morals relative? I think morals depend on what society considers the baseline. We have laws, we have rules for society, we have social contracts that happen every time we walk out of our door. A lot of people ignore them, but morality is determined by what society deems is acceptable. We didn't like killing, after the Wild West, where killing was quite frequent. We didn't like killing anymore. So then we stopped killing. Then we stopped, trying to kill too much. And we have laws against killing. We have laws against, stealing and graping, and things like that. So, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I'm stoned, so I probably read it wrong. This isn't like, one of those things where I'm like, oh, slam! Oh! If you think so, then you've come to the wrong channel. The only question Christians can't answer, this guy is a Christian, so I don't know what he thinks. What? I'm not looking for questions that atheists are asking. Questions for atheists. I spelled it right? I don't know. 2 silly questions for atheists. Okay. Go on.
Here's a guy who has 2 questions.
No,
for
damn it!
atheists.
Someone reacting to... Ah! We'll find it. I know we will.
Alright, welcome to another episode of Gin and Truth. I'm the captain of this ship, Robert motherfucking Reed. Got a tumble full of hitters, got a mindful of thoughts.
I don't think you're Christian. I'm just saying. I'm gonna guess you're not gonna be the devout Christian that I'm hoping for. No,
Here's
damn
a
it!
guy who has 10
Stop.
questions.
They weren't answered. Damn it! With goddamn Matt Dillahunty. What was atheists can't answer? Oh my gosh.
The
Atheist's biggest
question.
challenge.
Atheists
AI.
cannot
Okay,
escape.
go on.
Hello, everyone. Dan Mason here.
A complete made-up
Let's explore
person.
another issue in our current events together. Creation. I received a
Mhm.
comment on one of my YouTube videos from Raisu, so I will respond to them, him or her,
Mhm.
in the next few essays.
Mhm.
So, here we go. Please like, subscribe.
Them is fine. I don't know why you would have to emphasize them, him, or her. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of using them, because it's just kind of easier to do that, but whatever. Do
and
what
leave
you
a
want.
comment to support.
Go off, queen. But yeah, there was no questions for atheists there. Christian ask atheist.
Let's suppose that Jesus did what you suggested, and he came.
No, it's in a
right
debate,
out
damn it.
today, And he was killed in an electric chair, and scientifically confirmed that.
What? Is that a thing people debate about? Oh, here you go, Matt Walsh. Here's a piece of shit for
When
you.
the Supreme Court made the decision about Roe v. Wade, we were told that by the left, including
Mhm.
many of them secular atheists, doesn't matter what the Supreme
Mhm.
Court says, women have the right to abortion. What do you
You don't have to say secular atheist. You just say atheist or secular. It's not.
mean, right? What are you appealing to exactly when you talk about this mystical right that exists? You're not appealing to God. What are you appealing to? If you can only appeal to man, if you can only appeal to the government, then...
So, okay. Let's just take it moment by moment.
When the Supreme Court made the decision about Roe v. Wade, we were told that by the left, including many of them secular atheists, doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says, women have the right to abortion. What do you mean?
Okay. So, what we're saying here, what he's saying
many of them
is,
secular atheists, doesn't matter what the Supreme
when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, what he's saying is that the left said it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says, a woman has a right to choose. And his response to that is, well, who give you those rights? I believe.
Women have the right to abortion. What do you mean right? What are you appealing to exactly when you talk about this mystical right that exists? You're not appealing...
Very literally, the law that was passed originally that supported abortions. The only reason why you would want to frame it religiously is because that's the one backing that people tend to have for an anti-abortion stance. If you are not religious, you don't appeal to religion, you therefore don't agree that abortion's murder. There are plenty of atheists that agree that abortion's murder, but that's almost exclusively a religious stance.
To God, what are you appealing to? If you can only appeal to man, if you can only appeal to the government, then it's up to them what the rights are. And it doesn't make any sense. If the government says you have a right to this, it doesn't make any sense to say, no, that's not true. What do you mean it's not true? According to you, a right by definition is simply whatever the government says. This is a real problem that I don't think...
I mean, on its surface, yeah, a right is society, if you want to be more specific, but a right is something that you are deemed given, like, at birth by whoever's in charge, by society, by, you know, if it's a religious society, then they're going to claim that it's God who is giving you those rights. And if it's a secular society, then they're going to claim that it's the government that's giving you those rights. Yeah. You're just describing how societies work. And you're saying, I don't like that. I don't like that. Sorry, Matt Walsh. I mean, you're a piece of shit. So I don't have any advice. I just have condemnation.
Anyone on the left has even attempted, or very few people on the left have even attempted to confront or deal with or wrestle with. And it just makes everything they say about human rights totally meaningless.
Right. So instead of saying what we need to do is we need to educate these people, if there's a gap in their logic and we have the divine grace to see them through this tough time in their sinful lives, then we need to help them see the light. We need to give them the education, the Word of God, in order to allow them to come to us to seek the wisdom of the Almighty. Instead, what he's saying is, these people are meaningless. Anyone who's not Christian is meaningless, is what he's saying. Super cool, bro. Great religion you got there. In addition to supporting and condoning and even ordering slavery, and it was, sorry, also genocides, also the murdering of innocent people, just for shits and giggles, you know, maybe tacking Matt Walsh onto that whole thing might not make it the most appealing, you know, just to my eye. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But that's, you know, maybe that's why people flourish under having like a balanced ideology with plenty of equity in mind, you know? Maybe it's like, I don't know, it allows room for empathy. I'm just saying, if you have like a system of beliefs that puts certain groups of people into their own little marginalized area, then you're creating a wedge between you and the rest of humanity. Whether it's infidels, the gays, the transes, whatever your gathering of idiots believes, it's doctrine that makes you less free. So, I don't know. Get a better God, I guess. There's that one, the Chaos God from 40K. I forget his name. Sneerch? Something? Sneerchin? Best questions to ask an atheist.
Ask an atheist. What do you mean by atheism? When did you become an atheist?
You don't become an atheist, you are born an atheist. Nobody's born religious, for Christ's sake. 0 people anywhere, ever, are born religious. 0 people anywhere. 0 people. Even if God comes to you in the womb and says, hey bud, I know you're about to take that log flume right out into reality. I just wanted to give you a good thumbs up and let you know we're rooting for you, sport. Even if he did that, you are still not born religious. Religion is a series of beliefs, a system of beliefs. If you barely have consciousness, you cannot form a system of beliefs. If you cannot see or hear or taste or touch or smell, you cannot have a system of beliefs. You cannot, if you can't say mama, you cannot have a system of beliefs. Nobody's born racist, as people have tried to debate, and nobody's born religious. So maybe that's not the right question to be asking.
Did you ever believe in God? What's your experience with Christians? What, if anything, might cause you to reconsider your...
See, that's just like what a salesman does. And people, the reason why people get so like upset at Christians all the time, why they think that everyone's trying to persecute them, is because they insert themselves into everyone else's business. Just like vegans. They're like, hey guys, by the way, I just want to let you all know, I'm vegan and I'm a Christian. All right? So, just in case you guys need a vegan or a Christian, let me know. I'll be over here. All right? I think, again, I reacted to these before too. Maybe if I just hit unwatched, maybe that would like filter through some of these shits. Oh, guess not.
God's plan is always the best. Sometimes the process is painful.
Why are we whispering about this? Please, I can't have you sitting on my lap. It's so difficult. I wish the friggin' chair would actually descend like it's supposed to. It doesn't, the thing on my chair doesn't work. Like it doesn't like ding and then, you know, doesn't do that like it's supposed to. It's so frustrating. And one of my wheels will not turn. The bearings are fine. And when I take all the weight off of it, it turns. But it's just, I think the setting, like either the washer, the washer's broken. See, if you just stop and think about something for a little bit, you might actually come up with the answer. That's my lesson for the day. Don't ignore your brain. I feel like we gotta come up with some new songs in the Christian music world. This is a fine song, I guess. Is it a hymn? Is it a traditional hymn? I think it's a couple 100 years old. But do we really need it anymore? Like, can we just come up with some more original songs? Some more like original, like, oh God, you gotta try to come all over me and share your grace with my face. Paint it all over my face, your grace. Jesus, I'm on my knees for you. I'm begging for you to just come and give me your glory. Like, you're right. You know, it's probably bad timing on the lyrics, but they're solid, I think. I don't know. Something to consider. Christians. I don't want to. What on earth is happening? What is happening on earth?
To get up every day and give 100%.
Okay, so I think what I've determined here is it was upload date that produced some decent results, but there were some videos that I'd already reacted to, so see, I feel like this is going into maybe my algorithm. Oh, good. I think it's a solid beginning, you know? Who knows?
Guys, welcome to the John Lovell Show. Special guest today. His
Debunks
name's Matt Huff.
atheist
If you don't
arguments?
know the name already, you need to, and you're going to, because this guy is super
Playback
sharp, super bright.
speed.
He's been on a bunch of
No,
big
make
shows,
it go
and he's an
fast.
absolute brain. He can beat you
Can
in
I
an
turn?
argument.
What is the P? What is that? Premium. Son of a premium.
But he's also jacked. He could beat you in a fight. Get
Go
ready
fudge
for what's up.
yourselves. I've seen this a lot in conservative circles where people like flog being a troop. Kiefer Sutherland attacked an Uber driver. Okay. Thank you for letting us know, Bob. Thanks for keeping us updated. Let us know of any updates that happen as this breaking story unfolds, all right? Keep us updated. Keep us in the loop. I need to know everything that's going on with Mr. 24. That was his name in that show. Did you know that? 24, Mr. 24. It was Mr. John 24. And the reason why everyone was so afraid of him is because he would pick up his phone all dramatically and he'd go, "I only got 24 hours." And nobody knew enough to understand what was going on. They were just like, oh, okay, well, what can I do to help? You know, just every time. Every time. It was just, he was just so aggressive with it that nobody ever thought to question it. And so, there you go. That's probably why he attacked an Uber driver. Because the Uber driver was like looking in his rearview mirror. I think I recognize you from somewhere. He's like, "I'm just John 24. I got 24 hours. They just made me." And so then he probably attacked him to try and keep his cover. Is that why? So yeah, I noticed that a lot of conservatives bandy about the fact that they served in order to garner more respect, which I think is kind of an underhanded move. You know, like, I don't, when I tell people that I was a chef, it's not because I want people to go like, "Ooh, you were a chef? Ooh, where'd you cook? Ooh, what's your favorite type of food to cook? Ooh, what'd you cook for? Ooh, did you cook for me sometime?" Like, I hate that. I hate it. I'd much rather, like, the driver said it would take 25 hours to get there. There you see? My joke was better, but it's good. It's good. Yes. Yes. Yes, and. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like having a foundation that you're not confident in and feeling like you need to use the crutch of, "Hey guys, did you know that I served in the army?" in order to get respect is unnecessary. I think that, like, if you're a business and you're open and you're doing good and open and doing good, whatever. If you're a business and you deal with a lot of like veterans charities, or you donate to like the Veteran Benefits Association for your local, you know, town or whatever. If you are actively involved in, you know, veteran advocates, veteran affairs, I think. Like if you're actively giving back and you're involved in the veteran community, people are going to know. People are going to know that you were a veteran. People know that you served. And then you're not like kind of, it makes me feel like you're trying to build something on the corpses of your friends, you know, of your brothers in arms. And that like feels aberrant to me. Helmet, maybe you want to weigh in. I don't know. I don't feel like it's a good thing to like try and start a multi-million-dollar business, whether that's what they're doing or not. I don't feel like it's a good idea in general to use your service as a jumping off platform when it's not when it's not necessary. You know, when it just doesn't seem necessary. I think if you've got other good traits and if you've got other things that you can sell, you know, then it should really speak for itself. So yeah, I don't know. I was going to debunk top 7 arguments.
100% increase in Bible sales. That's amazing. Are you seeing?
Also, I don't know who's Christian and needs to hear it, but anybody that is selling the Bible is going against the Bible. Religion's supposed to be free. You are not supposed to profit from it. Okay? Just in case. Just in case you're Christian and you need to hear that. If you sell the Bible, you are directly going against the Bible. I think it might even say in the Bible somewhere. I'm not certain. I'm not a fucking scholar, but I'm pretty sure that it says in the Bible somewhere you're not supposed to make money from the Bible. A lot of businesses say veteran owned, but that doesn't do it for me. You being a vet has nothing to do with how well you can roof a house or run a business. Well, that's my point. You know, like I think if you got a good product or you got a good service, it should speak for itself. You shouldn't just be relying on the service to communicate that your business is worth patronizing. The business itself should be enough to say that the business is worth patronizing. It tells me that you've got, you know, the walls are being made of fucking balsa wood and plaster, you know, and like if I try to make it stand the test of scrutiny, I'm gonna fall through one of the walls like in a McMansion, you know. I've done it before and I'll do it again.
What I'm seeing?
Oh, definitely. I think that some people have called it the quiet revolution, or kind of the movement of people who are spiritual but not religious. But alongside of that,
while, and now what I see, and it's been happening over the last decade.
So this chapter is called "Why Atheism is Crashing and Faith is Resurgent." I can tell you right now that Christianity was never suffering. There was never a time where Christians, like other than the great persecution in the Roman times, like there was never a time when Christians like didn't have the majority of the cult market share. Like it was the biggest cult at the time. It is the biggest cult of this time and has made itself into a full bona fide religion despite the inconsistencies and how it clearly borrows things from most other religions at the time. Paul asked people for money and upset the Corinthians, and then he yelled at them again. And like, if you've ever seen those bar tricks that are like hundreds of years old, and then you ask yourself, how did Jesus turn water into wine? It seems pretty clear that perhaps he was just showing off some close-up magic routines. Maybe he was just a snake oil salesman. I don't know. I don't care. But there was no shortage of Christians in the last 100 years. So I don't know where the premise would come from that there needs to be a faith resurgence. That's coming from a conservative Christian who looks at what's happening in the US and thinks to himself, this needs to change. There's clearly a need for faith resurgence, and what he means is an ethnic cleansing, a bit of genocide, maybe a civil war, and then a dictatorship, and then there we go. And I think we'll be happy, you know. We will have Christian nationalized everything, and there you go. It's all good. Oh, that's a true Bible story. I'm into it. Paul seemed that sort of assertive, so it only makes sense. Stop staring directly in the camera. If you use that GeForce AI thing that makes you stare directly into the camera, you're a fucking monster. All right? Stop it. Nobody wants you to look directly in the camera. Unless they're real into you. Unless they really want you to stare at them real long in the eyes, like. Even then, if I was going to try and do that, one of my eyes would be wandering off this way. It wouldn't be a deep stare. It'd be a bit of one, but a stranger, but a wanderer, but a nomad. All right, truly a Romani people. The collection of living things in my head are. Is.
Is it crash and burning, and Christianity is standing untarnished in the rubble? That's really interesting. Some folks...
Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say that Christianity lies untarnished. It's been used to excuse a lot of bad things, and there's a lot of bad things in it. So I don't know that I would be saying that Christianity is untarnished. Be careful when you say stuff like that. I just don't think that is a good point to make. Oh, okay. So this guy clearly has romantic feelings for this guy. He's calling him an academic alpha. Do you think they're going to get romantic?
Sure, let's do it.
Awesome. So...
Nice. That was God right there. That was God. If you believe in holy movements, there you go. What explains that, Christians? A miracle. Now these men are boyfriends.
First off, you're a scholar.
Enjoy.
You're an academic. You're an intellectual. Real impressive educational pedigree.
Very friendly.
But at the same time, you're a meat eater, bro. You're an alpha.
I bet he is.
Super jacked. Can we put a photo of him up on screen?
No.
Just looking jacked. Look.
He was looking at it this morning for hours. You're looking so jacked, bro.
Look at Wes Huff looking all jacked. It's like he's going to beat you in an argument, and then he's...
These are men talking to each other. Straight men.
Going to lift you up like Bane. Breaking Batman over his knee style. This is...
Uh-oh. Until they figure out how tall I am, and then everything kind of collapses.
Are you
compensate.
Tall?
I can't grow any taller, so I just started growing wider. That's really what happened.
Yeah. I'm not a tall man either, and I just quickly said, people meet me in public and are like, oh, I thought you'd be taller.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint, right? But I say I'm taller when I stand on a box.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just do it deadpan, and they seem to...
There's that Christian comedy sense. That real cutting comedy that's so modern and so just... It's such good timing, and it's so well written. I'm taller when I stand on a box. I think Conan O'Brien might have started that one, back in '87. It's a good one. It's really good. Good writing team.
Enjoy that a moment. So you're working out all the time.
You're working out all the time. Your family hates you. They can't stand listening to you talk about how so many minorities have made their way into Canada, so you have to go to the gym. So, tell us, what's the secret?
Guns or anything, or
what's the
weaponry
secret?
Or martial arts? What do you do for workout routine? Tell us about how the academic with the big head also has a big body.
Oh, that's an interesting way of putting it. Yeah, you know, so
Sir, you need to calm down. You are glazing this guy way too hard right now. You're gonna get the console all sticky.
I was really involved in track and field when I was in high school and university. I ran varsity track as a sprinter.
I can't look at
and
the
I think
fucking
I'm the only
screen.
one I know
Stop
who
staring into the
tracks
camera.
Track and field as the only sport that they actually follow. But I was a sprinter, so I was a 100, 200 meter guy, and then helped hearing.
It's the thirst trap videos that have people staring directly into the screen. It's the ones that are like, fucking people trying to stare into your soul and shit.
In Canada during the university season, it's all the distances are funny. They're
Scary.
60
Ugh.
meters, 300 meters, and then you have a 4x200 meter relay.
Workout routine, and they'll immediately jump in the comment.
Japanese swords, the katanas, cutting the tatami.
Andy's a weeaboo. Andy's into anime. Oh, I burped.
I did a little bit of that. Thought that was really cool. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4 katanas in my office.
I'll bet he does, the mall ninja. I'll bet he does.
And did that. And then Hemo, which is historical European martial arts, which is basically like knights fighting. Was super interested in that. And
so anything that brings you real close and personal with another big, sweaty, hulking man. I didn't know this podcast was going to turn me on so hard.
Yeah, I love that. Watch way too
They're
many
supposed to be
movies,
Christians.
when I was a kid. And so, although never really got like big into actually, going to a jiu-jitsu gym or doing kickboxing or something like that, I was always just
Right. Anything that keeps you arm's length away from someone, I'm sorry, I don't want anything to do with that. I gotta be right up close, getting you an arm lock, getting you in a leg lock. Oh, I can't wait to have your strong, muscular head between my tree trunk thighs.
fascinated with.
I'm trying to imitate his voice. That was really mean.
World of mixed martial arts and weaponry.
Yeah. Before we went live on this, you saw the Brave.
Oh, you gotta have a gun. I gotta have a gun in the background to make people know that I'm truly a badass, but also, look, I got Braveheart. William Wallace. We love William Wallace. He was a member of YMCA. He cried, freedom! Good Lord, freedom! When he got his intestines, they were turned on a wheel. It's very specific torture, I think. No, they were just, he was flayed. They took his intestines out or something. I forget it, but William Wallace.
Part poster right above my shoulder. And what did you bring up to me?
Right, he said something about it.
Actually, a fan sent me this just after the whole Rogan thing. They saw I'd posted some sword videos, and then they sent me this, which is a replica of a Scottish claymore, and it's about,
which I feel like would be 70 pounds if it was an authentic replica, aren't they? Those things are pretty heavy. Oh no, okay. Wow. I was way off. I thought claymores were like way expensive, or way expensive. Way heavy. What am I thinking of? Is there a longsword that's like super heavy? That I might have mistaken that? 6 pounds is way lighter than I thought it would be. Yeah, no problem, Helmet. Have a good one, man. Appreciate it.
it's about 5 feet tall.
So far, they're
this
not
is
talking about
Honshu
atheists.
Is the company. They come from Japan, and it is a battle ready. It's about almost 5 feet
avoiding
long.
Caesar's
It's
influence.
a beast. I have it hung above my desk.
Oh dear God!
On my wall, just above my computer monitor. And yeah, this is one of a number of chaplain at the British Embassy in Amman, Jordan.
Dude,
yeah,
this is
despite
taking
that, in my
so long to get to the point.
Worldview thought, and so you, as a careful,
quicker the paralysis takes for standing, at least to some degree, that
kind of resume bullet that's brought us together was
See, I wish I could
at a homeschool
speed it up,
soon.
but they're like,
Also,
"Oh, I'm sorry, you got to fucking
that
pay
men's
money."
gathering, the 1613 conference coming up next year. That's going to be a 1613 conference. That's going to be amazing. Why homeschool for you guys? Why not as an academic, an intellectual? Obviously, you value education. Why not private schools or public schools?
Yeah, so this is an interesting topic because my wife is a
I'm just
trained
kidding. It's
kindergarten
me. I'm the
teacher,
host.
and she's worked both in the public and private school system. She was the curriculum coordinator for a classical Christian school, even after my son was born and I was of school age. And
Christian
so
school, not
the
accredited.
conversation about,
Hey, Alex,
why
how's it going?
we chose to homeschool him, even when she was actually working at a classical Christian school.
Can't get a working degree at a Christian college.
My wife
You can,
homeschooled,
technical
for
degree,
her primary school
but they
years
are
as a child. And
damn
so,
near worthless.
Although I went through the public school system,
You can still get a job.
felt that
They're not
there
worthless because you can
was-
get a job
we
with them,
had
though.
Training and capabilities.
A thing that I will say about degrees is that they're useless in general. Going to school like as a specialized program is a bad thing. Like for a trade, you shouldn't monetize schooling for a trade because trades are supposed to be these things that you don't need schooling for in the first place. They're just kind of something that you apprentice into. So that's a whole like cottage industry of these corporations that dumped money into advertising, trying to make money on preparing you to take a job that has nothing to do with. I said hi, Alex. That has nothing to do with being on the job. They teach you concepts surrounding the job. They teach you things that they've determined are important for you to learn in order to do the job, but that they suck. Don't go to like don't go to a trade school that is like a private for profit, because they're bad. They will just take your money and you will not be able to get it back later. I have tried.
Particularly my wife, to be able to feel.
Don't be sorry, Alex.
That, but not only
You ain't never got nothing to apologize for.
By that, things that are instilled with a longing that goes beyond just like I was saying before when we were talking.
18th and 18th. So if you guys want to meet,
So he's
me or
saying
Wes
something.
at, great homeschool conventions.
Oh my God.
The mere matter that exists around us, and I think we should push into some of those things that we often assume. You know, we
Well, no, what were you
mere
saying? Hang on.
matter that exists around us, and I think we
What?
should push
You okay?
into some of those things that we often assume. You know, there's miracles that we read about in the Bible of turning water into wine and walking on water.
I mean, that's something that you simply could just do. If you had a glass of wine and a glass of water, you stick like a card in between them and you put them like upside down, one on top of the other, and then you just pull. It shouldn't be a card. I think it's like a piece of paper or something like that. And then you just pull the piece of paper a little bit at a time, and the wine will bleed into the water, and eventually it will all be the same color, thus turning the water into wine. That's an old parlor trick that's been a thing since the beginning of time. Coincidence? Probably not, honestly. You can get in there, it's okay. But though. She doesn't want to disturb her sister, so she's like afraid to jump in there. Thank you, Alex, I appreciate it.
And Jesus healing people. But realistically, if the first miracle happened, that everything came from nothing, then everything else is kind of small pennies. In that, if we believe in the origin story of secular materialism, that everything came from nothing and there was no progenitor, right? The Big Bang had no Big Banger, then that's I think
secular materialism? What the fuck? Oh, hang on.
Then everything else is kind of small pennies. In that, if we believe in the origin story of secular materialism that everything came from nothing and there.
I don't think that anybody is proposing that everything came from nothing. Nobody is proposing that everything came from nothing. Literally nobody is saying that. 0 people are saying that everything came from nothing. You're basing your entire podcast off of nothing, which is both metaphor and irony.
There was no progenitor, right? The Big Bang had no Big Banger. Then that's I think harder to put your faith in than
right, because faith requires that you suspend your disbelief in order to believe in something that you cannot prove. That's why it's called faith. If you are trying to look at things practically from a point of view of, let's say, science, for example, then you can't come to any conclusions. You don't just all of the sudden think, well, I don't know what it could be, gotta be God. You know? Like, there's no reason to believe that. It seems easier to just accept that some greater power has you and that you are now, you know, accepted and you feel seen and loved and heard, even though you probably aren't. But that the harder thing is accepting the harder reality. By the way, I'm 20. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Right. Looking at the world around us as a conscious human being, how did mindless matter produce minds? Right. I think that's a genuine question that we need to put.
That's you're trying to shrink the window into something super microscopic when the universe has existed for like billions upon billions upon billions of years. So if these tiny minds cannot comprehend what a billion years looks like, then of course it's going to seem a lot easier to say, well, then it must be God. If it's just way too complicated for us to figure out, like way too much for us to fathom, way too much for us to conceptualize, then it must have been God. There has to be someone smarter out there that did this all for us. That's safe and it's comfortable, but you don't have to go there. You can continue to seek the real answer.
You know, how did everything come from nothing? Well, I think
not what anyone argues.
The fact that we, you know, you and I, John, are here.
And what I think is really funny is that Christians set up that argument and then they fuck up defending that, or then they fuck up defeating that argument.
And we have this however many pounds of gray matter in our brain that...
See what I mean? The answer to them is plain as day. All you gotta do is just look around you. All you gotta do is feel the 8 pounds of brain inside your skull. And then read your Bible. And don't be gay or trans. All right? Those are the rules.
Is somehow
to get into heaven.
Able to ask these genuine, authentic questions should make...
Those are not genuine or authentic questions. Nobody argues that everything came from nothing. And it's not genuine because you are making something up and you're using that as the argument that all atheists use when atheists don't fucking have a Bible. We don't have a leader. There is no set doctrine. There is no nothing that governs atheism. It is a lack of something. There is a big empty void where you think a thing should be. Does not mean it's that's not what we believe. It's just the opposite of theism. Atheism is theism with an A. Any child can understand that.
Make us pause. Now, otherwise...
Which, if we're to assume that a person like this is saying the things that they're saying, which is so full of ignorance, either we are forced to think of one of two outcomes. Either they are this way because they are misguided and because they do not see a benefit to reconceptualizing what they believe. That's totally fine. But because it's so bad of a case for a lot of these guys, the other opportunity or the other solution presents itself, or the other explanation presents itself, which could be that they're doing it for personal gain and thus providing an antithetical demonstration of Christianity, which means any Christians who agree with what they're saying probably aren't very good Christians. And maybe if you trace it back and you realize that the book itself might be the problem, then perhaps choose to follow a different book. Just saying. It might be something to consider, you know?
You know, if it's just chemicals fizzing, if it's no more than...
And way to fucking completely oversimplify that, it's, again, billions and billions and billions of years. You have Creature 1, right? Creature 1 is born. We don't know. It could be a multicellular organism, like a clump of cells grew a clump of hair. And that clump of hair grew a fishtail. You know, I don't fucking know what happened with the primordial ooze. But it took bajillions of years. And so you've got Creature 1. Creature 1's now fully formed. You've got the first species of anything ever. I don't know how it formed, but that's not the question here. So Species 1, it goes, oh, hey, you know, hey, we're rolling around, we're doing good. Oh no, there's a fucking nitrogen layer in the air that our species can't deal with, so we're going to start dying out. And as we are trying to pull ourselves back from the brink, we start producing offspring that can take that nitrogen layer in the air. They've got an extra little, like, nodule on their lung or something that allows them to live longer in the environment. And so then, now the original population of that Creature 1 is going down because they can't handle the thing, but they're giving birth to new generations of creatures that can, who are then giving birth to new generations of creatures that can. But the birth rate is so low, is super low, right? They're only giving birth to like 1 or 2 pups at a time. So now they've been able to overcome this problem. Here's the first layer. They've been able to overcome this problem with the nitrogen layer in the air or whatever, nitrogen, some chemical they can't process. And so that was through adaptation. And that's like a couple of million years. Then they encounter this problem where the birth rate's too low and the population's shrinking. So now they've got to, like, the species like has to go in a certain direction in order to maintain its numbers in order to survive as a species. So you know, the number goes down, the number of Creature A goes down, and you know, they're trying to figure it out. The death goes up, their population goes down, and so then they figure it out. They for some reason or another, there's a mutation in one of the genes, and now they have 2 pups at a time instead of 1. So the birth rate literally doubles, and statistically over a long period of time. Again, this takes millions and millions of years, and so then you have Creature 2, then you have Creature 3, then you have Creature 3A, then 3B, then 3AC, 3.624x1-5 version 1. Like, you can get as minute as you want, but it took so many steps for Creature A to get to Creature Z that it is an insurmountable amount of time. So it's hard for, if you have a tiny pea brain, to wrap your head around that. So it has to have been God. God had to have poofed them into existence somehow. And you can't explain that any other way than through magic. How is magic easier to believe than the passage of time? Again, you're watching or Ask an Atheist Anything. Tomorrow we're going to be doing What's Wrong With You? Which is what we do every Tuesday now. There you go. Where you can call in, you can say, what's wrong with you? If there's something wrong.
The soft drink that I pour into a cup, and you know that's fizzy, and so are the chemicals in my brain. Then why trust that? Right.
Why? You know, that probably is the one true thing he will say this entire time.
I put my ability to trust my logical thought processes if that is just a product of time plus matter plus chance. I don't.
So what he's saying is, the reason he believes the things he believes is that he trusts his brain. There seems to be a little bit of a flaw there, because you can be mentally unwell. Plenty of people are. And sometimes we can't trust our brains. Sometimes we have to go to therapy and process shit in a healthy and balanced manner. And if you're just coming up with God every time, you might have an actual condition. You might have something that you really need to go see a specialist for. So, good job turning that into something, I guess. Not exactly the best way to do it, but
I think that is a reasonable
gotta do what you gotta do.
conclusion. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm a historian by training.
Right.
I think that there are these kind of
and no, you're not.
philosophical...
If you're a pastor, I'm just going to say that I don't believe that you're whatever you're claiming you are. And if you're saying that you're a historian by trade or by whatever you said, I'm going to guess that you really just read the Bible and that you're claiming to be a historian. That's my guess.
And scientific questions that merit a good answer. And I don't think that secular materialism and atheism offers any concrete...
See, you don't just budget or bundle two things together. All right. Secular materialism is a worldview holding that only matter and energy exist, rejecting supernatural or spiritual explanations, viewing reality through a scientific physical lens where concepts like love and truth are a brain/chemical process. Or how about if you just don't give a shit about any of that? I guess if you asked me about, where do you think love comes from? I would say that love is a product of several psychological processes, which are by their nature biological processes. One of those being attraction, the other being desire, the other being infatuation, the other being attachment, the other being intimacy. It is a healthy mixture, and ultimately healthy if it's balanced. And that's what the biological/chemical process is. And I don't know the chemicals themselves, but that is what, love is. It's the qualities that I mentioned. Infatuation, that can be broken down into its chemical constituents, one of which is based in your olfactory sense. The other is based in probably in your cortex, I would assume. Whatever processes vision. But yeah, we have been able to trace our senses back to where they associate in the brain, and we were able to map out what infatuation looks like. We're able to map out what attraction looks like. We're able to map out what desire looks like. We know what anger, embarrassment, all those things, anxiety, we know what they all look like when mapped out on the brain based on certain the chemical processes that happen when you're presented with certain stimuli. We've been able to figure all that shit out. That's all there in the science. So secular materialism is really just, I guess, looking at things through science. And I think you can absolutely exclusively believe things in science if you choose. But atheism isn't bundled with that because it's just a lack of belief. So if he's trying to just tack that on, then I don't know. I don't think that works very well for him.
Answers. This is where I think the Christian worldview is not just intellectually credible, but it's existentially sufficient.
Again, just because one thing isn't true or might not be true potentially doesn't mean that anything else is. That means that you have to turn around and go like, all right, back to the drawing board. We don't know what it is. So now we've got to figure out what it is. It's not just this other fucking nebulous thing. It's not this guy in the corner that was like, hey guys, I think if you can't figure out what made reality, it's probably me. That's not fucking it. That's not, you don't just go like, well, we've exhausted this one immediately obvious option. I guess it must be God then. And you've got like fucking 10 guys with fucking lab coats and clipboards going like, yep, I believe, yep, that's what I've seen, yep, that's the conclusion I've come to, yep. Bullshit, bullschlacha, bullshit, I say.
In that it applies questions of meaning and purpose and morality and consistency and historical reliability, and it takes them seriously in order to actually get to the bottom of where those...
No, because the Bible lays out specific rules that you're supposed to follow. So no, it doesn't. There's no deeper dive into anything. Your book does not get amended. If Christianity was permeable, if the Bible was a living document that was capable of being edited and amended, and if everyone followed the text consistently, then I'd be way less critical of Christianity, because it probably would be a lot more wholesome. There wouldn't be all the child marriage and ethnic cleansing and genocides and murdering of innocent children and murdering of innocent women and, you know, all that kind of stuff. There wouldn't be slavery. There wouldn't be all that kind of stuff, you know. It would be a way less shitty book, and it'd be a way less, oppressive book, way less exploitative, and it'd be a lot easier to follow, I think, you know. Just saying. I'm just going out on a limb here.
Questions come from.
You just put a whole bunch of different arguments together to build a real...
I heard a bunch of balloon juice, if that's what you're talking about. I heard a bunch of bullshit.
Quick defense. I thought that was fantastic, by the way. You should do this professionally. What do you think?
Maybe. It's a good idea. I'll write it down.
Yeah, you're welcome. That came from me. You cited like cosmological argument. What are the names of these other arguments that you just strung together so that folks listening in, they can do deeper reading and study on those particular arguments? What are they called?
So you have like the cosmological argument, you have the teleological argument, you have the argument from morality, which is one of my favorites. Yeah. You know, we argue, and I think this is one that's
oh my God.
In our day and age, because our culture, for better or for worse, is very concerned with topic.
None of that matters to most atheists. If you want to ask a question of any atheist, it really should be, how much do you give a shit about people who practice religion? My answer would be almost none. Other than coming here, I don't go into churches and go, here's why you guys should be atheist. You fuckers walk up to people's front fucking doors. You stand outside of abortion clinics where people don't all just get abortions all the time. People go in for all kinds of other shit. And you talk about how they're going to go to hell. There are your representatives on street corners with fucking billboards that say all trans and gay people burn in hell. Stand outside of Comic-Con. Stand outside of Fan Expo just these last couple of days. These are your people. These are your representatives. Atheists don't insert themselves into Christian lives. It's really the other way around.
It's like justice. And in one sense, I want to say, that's great. You should be concerned with justice. Where do you think that comes from? You know, you're calling something evil. Where do you think...
This is one of, again, the worst arguments for Christians to make, because there are literal fucking archaeological specimens from over 9,500 years ago. We have them dated. We have them logged. We have a large amount of them, including pottery, tools, dwellings, fucking reservoir systems. Like, it's very, very clear that people existed before Christians did. Very clear. Extremely clear. Christianity didn't hit the world until after some of the other pagan religions in the Middle East went kaputski. Not saying they were destroyed and conquered and then turned into these things, but Christianity did spread pretty quickly after that. And maybe in Rome, maybe they saw something, which is why they started throwing them to the lions, but I don't know. Then they went and did a crusade. Then they went and did a Spanish Inquisition. It was because of Christians that aid was prevented during the bubonic plague era. Campaigns against black people, against gay people, against trans people, against Asians, against Indians, against almost any ethnicity other than white, but even infighting among Americans and the Polish and the Russians and the Germans and like everyone. Christianity seems to have had a hand in all major conflicts, some form of it or another. Plus mass shootings. Serial killers believe that they heard the devil's voice in their dog. Like, Christianity is probably one of the easiest culprits for the biggest cancer on society that has ever existed. One could argue the most intrusive one, because we have people who are tied into government that are involved in religion. So like chaplains. That's priests in your jails. That's priests in your hospitals. That's priests in places where people are at their lowest and most mentally vulnerable to suggestion. Not only that, but you've also got anyone who gets a government contract that runs Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous is a religious organization, because they use the 12 steps. The 12 steps specifically brings you to God. You are required as one of the 12 steps to accept that only with the aid of a higher power could you have gotten rid of alcoholism. That's one of the 12 steps. That's one of the 12 steps. One of the 12 steps. So, at the end of the day, Christianity seems to be way more responsible for inserting itself into people's lives that don't really need it. In almost every case, much more than any other religious organization or atheism itself. Or any non-religious organization. Like, fuck, the CIA didn't knock on as many doors as the fucking Jehovah's Witnesses.
The foundation for calling something evil comes from, because if there's an evil, there's a good to compare it to, and if there's a good...
Wrong. There was a dualist, or there was a duality, a religion that subscribed to a duality way before Christianity. It was right after the Sumerian. No, it was the Sumerian religion, or it was the Sumerians that practiced it. I don't remember. Zoroastrianism, Zoro and Aster, or I think Yaldabaoth. Was a part of that whole thing. Sumerian gods, whatever it was. The important point is that if you're a Christian and you think somehow that religion didn't exist before Christianity, then you're fucking wrong. You're just plain wrong. Even your religion comes from an older religion. Your religion comes from an older religion. Christianity comes from an older religion. It was not handed down to anyone by God. It was not, there's no like preordained anything. It didn't just pop up on someone's doorstep someday. Religions can evolve. There's the thing that I find is really funny, that is a good argument for evolution, is that religions evolve. Sects split off, become their own thing. Now they're known as different denominations of the overall parent religion. It's all right there. It's all right there, just in the history books. So, hey.
Then there's a...
Anyway, I think this is a good place to stop it. It's 1:16. I gotta start doing all the housework and stuff, getting dinner ready for the wife, because I'm a damn good hubby. And yeah, we'll be back. I'm sorry that I was late today. Really, I'm usually better about that, but it's the growing pains of getting back after a convention, which was in town, so it's not like I had to travel or anything. But it's just they take a lot out of you, especially if you stay for as long as we do. It was like we stayed like from opening to close all day long, goddamn. Anywho, we'll be back tomorrow with What's Wrong With You? But today, you joined us for which is Ask An Atheist Anything. It's going to be this way. I may switch them, one for the other, but they will stay there on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then Wednesday, Thursdays will be both gaming days. We'll just chill and hang out and do video game shit. That's it. If you liked it, if you liked the stuff, if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy just chilling and hanging out and talking some mess on some mean poo-poo heads, that's not really what happened, but you know what? We'll stick with it. If you enjoyed it, please do the like and subscribe thing, and please do the thing where you interact with the video and all that kind of stuff. It really helps. I need to get that going. I don't know how else to suggest that people interact and engage with the stuff, but I think this works. I think this is fairly sufficient. I just have to learn how to really specialize stuff. What's up, Force? We're just shutting down the stream for today, but we will be back tomorrow. 9 a.m. till whenever's clever. I think probably 2, usually. Around 2. But if you want to watch the VOD, it was a decent romp through some Questions for Atheists videos. And then tomorrow we'll be doing What's Wrong With You? But just to remind y'all, today was or Ask an Atheist Anything.
Watch the goddamn VOD!
And join us tomorrow.